My name is Anthony Raimondo. I'm a labor attorney from Fresno, California. I think I have a bit of a unique perspective here. I've known Ms. Montgomery as an adversary for most of my career, so I would like to comment on the two nominees separately.
Okay.
I've also been representing Ms. Lopez and the workers at Garawan Farms for the last almost 4 years now in their dispute with the UFW. As to Ms. Montgomery, in fact, although I'm lined up now, I would actually support her nomination. As an adversary, I've known her to be an attorney of high integrity and professionalism, and although we've certainly had our battles, I think that they're battles that have shown her to be a person of high character. And of note, in her year that she's been at the General Counsel, she's done something that her predecessor refused to do, which is she has investigated and initiated prosecution of the union for its violation of the workers' rights. This gentleman here, Angel Lopez, has a case that's about to go to trial for a union violation of his rights and the rights of his fellow workers. Our problem is, as to Mr. Hall, I'm glad that you acknowledge that this is essentially a judicial position, because in California, we expect our judges to not only avoid bias, but to avoid the appearance of bias. This is Mr. Hall injecting himself into the dispute at Garawan Farms, taking a side, planting his flag, and waving it for the UFW in direct opposition to these workers that I represent. Can you assure them that they should believe that cases such as Mr. Lopez's case is going to be heard impartially when it reaches Mr. Hall at the Agricultural Labor Relations Board? I don't know Mr. Hall personally like Mr. Cannella does, or some of you, of the others of you who've worked with him. But as an attorney, I've come to expect that when I appear before a judge, that judge is not only going to be unbiased, but there will be even no appearance of bias, so that my client and the public, and in this case, the farm worker population, can be confident that their matters are being heard objectively and fairly. And despite our long adversarial history, I don't doubt that with Ms. Montgomery. She doesn't agree with me on a lot of things, but I've never felt treated unfairly before her. Despite Mr. Hall's statements today, he's had no meeting with the workers that I represent, the 3,000 workers of Garawan Farms, who want to have their voices heard about why they don't want union representation forced upon them. He took a side in that debate, and he took a side in that case without ever hearing from all of the so-called stakeholders. And I would submit to you in that case, the most important stakeholders are the workers that you see here, the workers who have been fighting to have their votes counted and their voices heard. They deserve to have an ALRB where they can have confidence not just in the reality, but in the appearance of justice and non-bias. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So for the record, opposition to Mr. Hall, support
Mr. Hall, support for Ms. Montgomery.
Ms. Montgomery. Okay. So
Thank
it stands
you.
on
I appreciate
you.
You
You got it.